Hey, good morning, folks. Pastor Stephen back again with another No Frills daily devotional. And today's topic is flesh and blood. And I'll explain what I mean by that in just a little bit. But I'm going to be taking you to ultimately what I consider to be one of Jesus's toughest messages. Okay. One of his toughest messages. That's what I was telling my kiddos about last night. I was like, I am diving into one of the toughest messages, in my opinion, in scripture. And what's interesting is the timing of it. All right. So Jesus, he just did one of his most popular miracles, which was turning the loaves and fish and multiplying it and feeding this crowd of 5,000 people. And it's actually probably more than that because it just says 5,000 men, but we know that there were women and children there as well. So we're likely probably like 10,000 people, maybe even 20,000 people. And it's at this height of his popularity that he gives one of the toughest messages. And it's so tough that he goes basically from 5,000 people that day back down to pretty much 12 people that day. And why would he give one of the toughest messages at the height of his popularity? Like, what was he thinking? Come on, Jesus, don't you understand how popularity works, right? Once you get it, keep the momentum, buddy, right? But here's the deal, okay? I don't know if you struggle with this, but I struggled with this definitely when I was growing up, okay? As soon as I started becoming popular, okay, that's when compromises started to happen so that I would keep my popularity, right? And I started compromising in saying and doing things that I knew I probably shouldn't say or probably shouldn't do, but I'm starting to get popular. And so I'm going to keep doing these things. And Jesus does the exact opposite. And he becomes very controversial. And you're probably going, all right, Stephen, what in the world did Jesus say or do that got him to go from a crowd of 5,000 people back down to 12? Well, let me take you to the text today, all right? So this is John chapter 6, and I'm going to be reading verses 51 through 53. And this is kind of a playoff or a continuation of a video that I did yesterday titled Fan versus Follower. But listen to what Jesus says. He's talking to the crowd again. He says, I am the living bread that came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. This bread is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. And then the Jews began to argue sharply among themselves. Wait a second, how can this man give us his flesh to eat, right? That sounds a little bit weird. And then Jesus says this. He said to them, I tell you the truth, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life in you. What? Eat my flesh? Drink my blood? Like, Jesus, what in the world are you talking about? What in the world? Is Jesus promoting cannibalism here? Right? Like, that's what right away the people are thinking. Like, okay, we were really willing to follow you when you did the loaves and the fish, but if you're asking us to eat your flesh and drink your blood, sorry, this is my cue to go follow somebody else, right? And so you gotta dig in here, okay? You gotta dig in here because on the surface it seems like Jesus is promoting cannibalism, but he's not, okay? All right, so breathe a sigh of relief. Jesus is not encouraging Christian cannibalism, right? What is he doing then? He's responding. He is responding to the crowd's demand that if you, Jesus, will just do another bread miracle, then we will believe in you. We talked a little bit about that in that previous episode yesterday about how we tend to try to use leverage in our relationship with God, where if you do this, God, then I'll believe in you, right? And so Jesus is responding to their request that, hey, I know what you could do, Jesus. You want us to believe in you, right? Okay, how about you feed us again? Give us bread again, and then we'll believe you, right? And they're treating Jesus like some sort of parlor trick, right? Or some sort of pet who's going to perform parlor tricks on their behalf. And if you just do this, then we'll believe you, right? And what Jesus is trying to hit at here He's trying to hit at something. He's trying to hit at this idea that we oftentimes, we want to take part in the miracles of Jesus, but oftentimes we don't want to take part in the life of Jesus. And that's what Jesus is hitting at here. You want the miracles. It's easy to follow me when I'm doing things for you. It's easy to follow me when your life is easy. It's easy to follow me when I'm producing bread for you on a daily basis. But don't just chase the miracles, okay? Don't just take part in the miracles. I'm calling you to take part in my life. That's what he's offering here. He's offering us to take part in his life. When he says, eat my flesh and drink my blood, he's offering us to take part in the Jesus life. And the Jesus life isn't just going to be miracles. And the Jesus life isn't just going to be good times, right? The Jesus life is this laid down life. And what he's ultimately saying is, you guys, you don't need another miracle, okay? You don't need another bread miracle. What you need is devotion. And what you need is dedication, because Jesus knows this to be true, that when the going gets tough, most people quit, right? Right? He knows that. He knows that. I've talked about this many times, where we want the benefit, right? We want the benefit, but we don't want the bill. We want the good things, but we don't want the hard things. We want the Jesus who does the miracle, but we don't want the Jesus who asks me to lay down my life, or to give of my finances, or to give of my time, or to help the needy, or to love my enemies, right? We want Jesus when he's going to do good things for us, but not when it means that my life becomes uncomfortable, right? And when Jesus is asking us to eat his flesh and drink his blood, things are getting pretty uncomfortable, right? And so uncomfortable that 5,000 people who had been following him that day said, you know what? I'm good. You keep your flesh and blood. We're gonna go over here, right? Right. And so Jesus is exposing, right? In this message, Jesus is exposing something. He's exposing what the crowds are truly after when they're following him. They're after personal gain. And we can't use personal gain as a reason to be following God. Because if I'm following God to get something from him in return, then I'm using leverage in my relationship. And I'm just treating him like some wealthy grandpa, where I'll just go to him when I need something. Yeah, I got to put up with some of his crotchetiness, but at least I'll get something in return. No, don't treat God that way. Don't treat Jesus that way, right? He's trying to expose that oftentimes when we're following Jesus, we're doing it out of personal gain, and we can't be doing it out of personal gain. But he's exposing what they're truly after by revealing what he's truly after. And what is Jesus truly after? Jesus is after wholehearted devotion. That's what he wants for you and for me. That's what he wants the intention of our heart to be by following him. He wants our wholehearted devotion, you guys. And guess what? Guess what? He is worth your devotion, and he is worth your dedication, and he is worth following all the days of your life. Hey, you guys, have an awesome, awesome day, and be blessed.